Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're doing very well. I'm doing well. So today I want us to check out and talk about challenges of gardening in containers during the rainy season. When you're gardening in containers, there are both pros and cons. And we've talked, in previous videos, we've talked about the advantages of gardening in containers, especially if you have a small space. But there are also challenges that come about with gardening in containers, and especially if it's the rainy season. So come with me in this video as we explore this, and I will ask you, as a fellow gardener, as a fellow container gardener, or someone who gardens generally, what challenges are you encountering during the rainy season when you're gardening in containers? So challenge number one is some plants don't do very well in the rain. For example, our bok choy are starting to rot because the rain is too much. So the pests have become more, and then the bok choy just starts to rot. It doesn't like a lot of rain. So this is a more dry weather friendly crop. If you really have to grow it, sometimes you have to use a lot of pesticides, or maybe you grow it in a greenhouse, but I find it struggling when I'm growing it during the rainy season. So that's number one. Number two is flooding. If you live in a flood-prone area, your garden might sometimes flood. Like you can see, I can absolutely tell that this place, when the rain was raining, this place was a bit flooded because I can see the way the soil looks. So that's also another challenge of gardening during the rainy season. So the other challenge is that the pests increase. Some pests are killed by the rain. Other pests multiply or thrive during the rain. For example, my spring onions naturally do very well, but this time, since it started raining, I just discovered that my spring onions are all struggling, both in this garden and even in the new garden. We'll go there sometime and check. We do have a lot of pests attacking our spring onions. So we're going to come and spray rabbit urine and see if it's gonna succeed. Also, this one is also struggling. This is celery. I don't know what pests are these. Yeah, so this happens a lot during the rainy season. Number three challenge is that the containers, sometimes they struggle with drainage. Like this one, you can see, looks like waterlogged. This container here, the container has drainage, it's just like the other containers, but this particular one looks waterlogged. So that's another challenge of gardening in containers during the rainy season. And one of the things that you can do as a solution to this is to make sure that your soil is loose. So you add a lot of manure. You also add a lot of organic matter in your soil to make sure that it's well drained so that the plants can survive. So I'll come back and check out why this particular container is waterlogged while all the others are doing very well. So the other challenge of gardening in the rainy season is slugs. I don't know whether you have slugs like I do. There are so many. Slugs are everywhere. You wake up in the morning, there are slugs on top of the leaves, there are slugs in the garden, there are slugs in the lawn. So there are so many slugs when it rains. I think they multiply, or they love the cool season. So they really thrive in the rains. So what I'm doing is I come in the morning, I try to pick them and throw them away and feed them to the chicken or whatever. But slugs are very many in this season. I also try to use salt to deter them. This is because in the dry season, I usually use diatomaceous earth. It works very well. But remember, when you use diatomaceous earth in the rainy season, water makes diatomaceous earth very ineffective. So you cannot rely fully on diatomaceous earth during the rainy season. So the slugs become so many. But ideally, during the hot season, I control them using diatomaceous earth, and it does very well. So the other challenge of gardening in the rainy season is that your produce is not always as clean. So the water will hit the soil will jump on the produce, and then the produce doesn't look as good as it should during the other seasons. So you will harvest muddy food, you will harvest muddy leaves, then you have to wash them. I really don't struggle with that, but I also don't think it's very appealing. I love a very clean garden. So the other challenge is weeds. The weeds grow so fast. So if you are a follower of this garden, you know I'm very brutal with weeds. I pick them as they grow. I make sure they don't grow past 3 inches, 4 inches. I don't like weeds in my garden. But in the rainy season, no matter how much you push, sometimes it's just gonna be too much for you to catch up with the weeds. So when you look around my garden, you will find that we have some weeds. We have weeds coming up all over, and yeah, so it's a struggle to garden sometimes when the rains are too much. But we love the rains. We are not complaining because these are just few challenges. The pros of gardening in the rainy season are more than the cons. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed and you also learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Always remember, if you have a vision, add some passion.